Record on this computer. What would you weren't you trying to be Wolverine and hurt yourself?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
was like
okay.
14.
Right. Let's see.
I don't know if it counted as cool.
Nothing you do at 14 is cool.
No,
Mm.
even when you
Speak for
think it
yourself.
is.
Well, I was doing what you were doing. You were 14. Well, some of it,
That's
not all of
right.
it. So I'm calling you not cool. Deal with it. No. Um, sorry, Mark. You were electro farting there. Was
I
that
was
you?
I pushed it to the side. And I think it'll behave now. It was just a
Okay,
cord
that's cool.
because
I'm
I
just making sure it's
dumped
not me
everything here.
because I have notorious noise.
Yeah, you're the notorious NOISE.
Number is 88
88.
today.
I just
88
checked it
today.
myself.
Okay, I keep looking at the list where I actually have to count them because that's
Yeah,
when
so did
forget.
I, because that's the one I've got on Twitter.
Yeah, I should probably print out a new one.
All right.
Everything's wrong on the one I have. Oh, the order's right, but everything else is wrong. Like the dates are wrong and a few of the guests are wrong because it's from like 9 months ago.
Okay. In at number 88, it's 88 kilograms of titty.
See, I thought we were gonna go for 88 kilograms of fish. Maybe that's
Nope.
because I came
Nope.
home last night and my house smelled like fish because they were eating stinky fish. But they left curry for me, so it's fine. They knew I didn't want the stinky fish. But the kitchen was still smelly with the stinky fish.
I think the budget is only here for about 11 kilograms of fish.
Yeah, it is. It is Piranha 3DD here today for Films and Filth, the Citizen Kane of podcasting. It's Matt Commages here. Who's going to talk next?
Here.
He talk next.
Mark Malik here.
There we go. Hi, Andrew. You
Hi,
know last
Andrew.
name?
Hi, yeah, Andrew Shearer.
I've been throwing out last names because I was like, nobody knows how to pronounce my last name, so maybe I should start saying it more often.
There you go.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Put my stamp of name on it or something. Just like the guy that made this movie whose name you said and I've already forgotten.
John Gulager.
Yes,
he's got Twilight Zone connection. You should know about everything about him.
Okay.
Everything.
I didn't do trivia for this. I didn't care to do trivia for this.
No, we don't do trivia for the show. Except
Mark
I'd read a bunch of it.
Mark and I were talking. We didn't even look up piranha information, so we don't know about the natural life cycle of piranhas yet.
They go up
I
your
looked
ass.
up a little bit about the Piranha series because I wasn't that familiar, but I knew James Cameron had done one.
Did you do piranha studies through your Pokemon podcast by chance?
Is
there a
did.
piranha Pokemon?
I did. There is a piranha Pokemon called Carvanha. Yeah, real life piranhas like.
I'm sorry, that's a car vending machine.
Oh, it's a piranha that'll carve you up.
Oh, okay, but it's like also a car vending machine.
But yeah, they're also
funny.
like they're pretty much omnivorous.
Oh, there's an H in the Pokemon.
Yeah, there is in the piranha too.
Yeah, because
nice.
I thought they were going to get into the little fish that swim up your pee stream if you pee into the Amazon River, which they kind of did in a way.
They did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, in a different way, of course, but whatever. Did anyone besides Andrew watch this film more than once? Meaning just now?
Nope.
Okay, didn't think so. This is my first piranha movie.
My
I didn't even
first
watch
time
the good
watching
ones.
any piranha movies.
Same here.
I did.
Whoa. What do you mean you haven't watched the good one?
I don't know. I'm just assuming the other ones are better.
I saw the first piranha one time. I have not watched the James Cameron one yet. Sorry. When Piranha 3D 1D came out, I loved it and was obsessed with it and saw it like 4 times because I had a friend who worked at the movie theater, so I could keep going in for free. When I walked out of Resident Evil 5 or whatever it was, I went and saw Piranha 3D again. And that's just one of my favorite theater stories. But
you double dipped? That's your favorite story? You only did that once?
Yeah, the whole time. I mean, I saw bad movies when I was getting in for free all the time, but Resident Evil, whatever that was the only one I walked out of.
Oh, you actually didn't finish it. Okay, you just
I walked out of it. No, I walked.
Oh
no, I dipped a lot, but that was the only time I dipped out on a movie after I started watching it. But
was that one in 3D, Mark? The Resident Evil?
Probably. This is when everything was in 3D. And what I didn't
Because
realize,
I remember seeing one of them in 3D.
I didn't realize that Piranha 3D was not filmed in 3D, but Piranha 3 Double D was filmed in 3D.
Correct.
So if I'd
Yes.
known that, I might have seen this in the theater because, as you know, as most people know, if they're paying attention, the filmed in 3D ones are always look cooler because
Yeah.
You would have been
Jackass
disappointed.
3 was one of the best that I've ever seen.
I don't know. I don't hate this movie. I enjoyed it. I can tell it's a step down from the scale of Piranha 3D, like a lot. I know the writing isn't as good, but there's funny shit in it, and I mean it's one of those things where I think this is like a Dark Fate situation where the last Piranha movie was Terminator 2, and you just can't top that without spending a ton of money. And it turns out that Bob and Harvey Weinstein decided that they weren't going to spend money on this sequel. So they, including not hiring the writers of Piranha 3D. So this was handed to the writers of Saw 3D, which I have not seen, but probably not good. Anybody know?
They
Yeah.
say Saw 6
Andrew
is
says
good.
it is good.
Yeah, yeah, 3 and 6 are pretty good.
But this isn't 3, this is 3D, which was the 7th one, I think. Right?
Oh.
Now, what movie are we
Saw
talking
3D
about?
was
I'm
not
so
Saw
lost.
3.
Oh,
Saw
right.
3D was not Saw 3.
Here,
Okay.
someone can agree or disagree with this if they've seen it, but the vibe I
It
got
is the
from this
seventh.
movie,
7. It's the 7th one.
okay. The vibe I got, Saw 3D is the 7th one. Wait, okay,
Yeah,
that all just
Saw
process.
3D is the
That's
7th
stupid.
one.
Okay,
It's the only 3D Saw movie because all the Saw movies were super cheap. So that was the only one that they just bothered to make in 3D, even though everything was in 3D, including, you know.
okay. Sorry, it
Just-
took like 30 seconds for me to process that. I guess for
I'm
some
trying to
reason.
help.
It's like a thought grenade.
I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. But yeah, so the guys who wrote the 7th Saw movie wrote Piranha 3 Double D.
Oh, you linked it all together. I wondered how long you're going to go on about
You
Saw.
did from-
I'm
you linked it
trying.
from the start, Matt.
I'm
You
trying.
just weren't listening.
Also, John Gulager directed Feast, which I did like, and I didn't see the sequels to that. Feast also has a kid getting straight up murdered on the screen, which I appreciated in this and that movie. I don't know how you guys felt about the kid just getting fucking murdered.
That was pretty funny.
So I'll just go ahead and say I fucking loved this film.
All right.
I alternated between belly laughing and just screaming, "Oh my god!" for like the entire final 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm into it. There are some very, very good lines in this.
I mean, I will say I watched this one straight through. There was I didn't even hit pause for it, which is rare for me. Also because it was last night and I had to finish it. And I didn't really feel like finishing it this morning, so I like to sleep on the film. So here's the page I came down on. I got the same vibe from this. As hey Andrew, what's the drive-in near your house?
Which one? The
North 85 Twin?
No, near is that's the one near Commerce, right?
Oh, no.
That was the Commerce Drive-In.
Oh, that's an easy name. Anyway, I saw Bats there in 1998 or something, and I got the same vibe from this as that.
Yeah, it's eco horror. It's a genre that is, I think, is usually pretty fucking fun.
And
I mean,
the same level of
Cocaine Bear.
The same level of like I'm laughing. It's funny, but I'm laughing at it. You know.
I'm laughing at it, but I'm laughing with it at the same time because everyone involved is laughing at it.
It is a comedy.
Hasselhoff literally walks in and says, "Here's rock bottom."
It's after you see him with his like legs up on a bed, composing on a Casio, ignoring the three-way that's in the bed next to him. Good stuff here.
Oh, and I do have the note here. I mean, this is better than Stan Helsing, which is also problematic.
Yeah.
So I gave it a plus above Stan Helsing. I'm trying to figure out where it ranks in my bad movie list. So hey, Luke, does that mean this is like on the top of your bad movie list so far?
Probably. This comes above fair number of the films on our so-called good list.
Yeah.
I will watch. I'm not even joking. I will watch this again before I watch Reservoir Dogs again.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Next
week.
I'm going to. I think I maybe Mark would agree with this. I think I'm putting Speed 2 at the top of the bad movie list so far.
It's for me. It's almost neck and neck with this and Speed 2.
Okay, so this does
I think
go
Speed
below
2 is a
for
more
me.
technically. Speed 2 has the budget that this movie should have had.
I was about to say they had
but,
money to blow things up in that and drive boats into towns.
But this movie, it looked cheap, but it wasn't incompetent. The CGI didn't look like shit or anything. It was just, you could tell there were way less piranhas and there was no like science involved. Most eco horror movies at least have something like we figured out how to put cocaine in, but it just has like a disgruntled man putting a bunch of stuff in the water and blowing them up.
Like it literally felt like they ran out of money at the end because the movie.
Yeah, there's
movie
meant to be an explosion, and there just kind of isn't.
And then there's 12 minutes of credits.
Yeah.
but
it's like fun because
it's an 82-minute movie and there's 12 minutes of credits.
It's a slasher movie, which I don't think we haven't really had a slasher movie yet, right? Like I don't think that I Know Who Killed Me counts at all. Like,
you know what? I am going to put that above this one. I did that. I just skipped. I'm going to put that above this one too. So that and Speed 2. Okay. So Matt's putting Piranha a little farther down the scum list. I should see if there's anything where I like it better. Once Upon a Time in America, there's a good movie I like it this better than for sure.
That's an easy one.
Okay, I will say it's nowhere near as good, but do I like this more than Ikiru? Probably.
Nope, I don't like it more than Ikiru, but that's fine.
Mark likes depressing movies, whereas me and Matt don't. So
yes, exactly. That's just one of those things that's just for me.
So, Andrew, this is your choice. You chose to come in and talk about Piranha 3DD. So that's your launching pad.
Well, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can like adequately judge it because I was mad at the movie before it even came out. There was a contest where you could submit your design for the poster for Piranha 3DD, and so it was through Facebook, the official Facebook page, or some social media. A friend of mine was like, "Hey, we should do this," and so I had her take a topless photo, and I just designed the poster where that was like that, and then the water, it was basically what the poster ended up being, but they discontinued the contest, and then they went and did an art that was basically exactly the art that I made, just with a different photo in it. Yeah, and there was never the contest just disappeared.
That's a legitimate grievance. I mean, I have a friend who had an air freshener show up in the first Transformers movie, and she decided to go ahead and sue Paramount, and then it ended up just with her getting dragged out forever, and she didn't get anything out of it, and so you can't talk about Transformers movies with her. I totally understand. That would piss me off beyond any like imagination.
It just meant that when I went in to finally watch this movie, which I of course watched it as soon as it was out, because I tried to see anything that's shot in 3D, I tried to go see that. But I had a chip on my shoulder or a fin on my shoulder, going in to see it. So I did rewatch it just to see because that was so long ago, just to see if that was still a thing with me. Because at the time, I had went to a horror convention not long after Piranha 3DD came out, and John Gulager was there, as he is or was when his father, Clu Gulager, who I think most genre fans know from Return of the Living Dead, he was there as his dad's handler, but he made himself like an impromptu DIY Piranha 3DD table, and it was John Gulager and one of the fish from the movie on like a stick, and that was it. And so no one was talking to him. So I walked up and looked at the fish, and this is the conversation. You guys want to hear it?
Sure.
Yep.
He like wrenched it out of me that I didn't like the movie. He was like, he was just like, "You seen Piranha 3DD?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I was like, "You directed it, right?" He's like, "Yeah." And then I didn't say anything. He goes, "You hated it, didn't you?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "It's okay, everybody does."
Oh.
And so it was like, oh my
Man.
God, he wants me to tell him I don't like his movie. It was like some kind of like dunking booth for John Gallagher.
I think that's what happens
So,
in Oppenheimer too, right? He wants
so,
people to
Yeah.
tell him he's
so
bad.
is that totally wrong about Clu Gulager being an episode of the Twilight Zone? I guess forget I said that. I don't
He
know
might have
why I
been.
thought
don't
that.
Sorry,
know.
what did you say?
I mean, he did so
I
much
thought Clu
television.
Gulager was in an episode of the Twilight Zone for some reason, and he is not. So
Okay. Maybe
I don't know
Gallagher
why
was
I said that.
also mad at the marketing department of the Weinstein Company. We all expect higher standards from the marketing department of the Weinstein Company. Higher
Yeah,
ethical standards.
Yeah, I mean, screw them.
Other than
That's
the
hot take.
other than the 3D, once you take that out, what you have is just like a very cheap retread of Alexander Aja's Piranha 3D. The plot doesn't really change. It's just more of the same, but with lesser money. And they bump up the comedy, and you've got Gary Busey and his dad, Clu Gulager, in the beginning of the movie. You've got Ving Rhames and Paul Shearer and Christopher Lloyd all come back briefly
Very briefly. I was
from
like,
the earlier
was it Chris?
Piranha.
I think Ving Rhames was not even credited, even though he has a
66% of the
damn.
way in. I was like, wait a minute, was it Christopher Lloyd in this film?
Yeah, he had a pretty great scene. Oh, they completely forget the Christopher Lloyd character. No, this the thing is, I think my thing about Piranha 3 Double D is that I've seen cheap short retread sequels of original movies, but I've never seen one that doesn't appear to have been. It doesn't seem as though they wrote a big enough story to make a feature-length film, because if you take away all the stock shots of women in bikinis or with no bikinis and water slides and things like that, the movie isn't very long. And you chop those 12 minutes of credits out, and it's already like what, an 80-minute movie, something like this.
Yeah.
It's a super fast movie. But if you take out those credits and all those stock scenes, because they feature characters that aren't in the movie, women running around topless or in slides, or running in slow motion with blood on them, none of those characters in the movie itself. And so if you take all that stuff out, there really wasn't even enough, you know what I mean, to constitute a full movie. So I'm wondering if anybody knows if there was a problem when they were making the movie and they just plain old ran out of money to make the movie they were going to make.
From what I understand, at least one of these scenes was actually repurposed from something that was already written for Piranha 3D and taken out. Like that's how little there is.
We forgot the big flashback that features the Victoria Beach massacre, which is one of the greatest horror scenes ever done in terms of gore. I mean, if no one has recently watched that, that is like Dead Alive level gore. I mean, it's just wall to wall, just gross. But yeah, so if you take that flashback out, the stock footage, the
scene
credits,
of the car sinking into the lake, Mark, that's where actually seemed to be one of the bigger budget shots of the movie too.
It starts off like very, very promising, like there's going to be a bigger film, and then there just isn't. But what John Gallagher brings to it, if you've seen the Feast movies, he is from the kind of trauma school. John Gallagher came from a show called Project Greenlight, and was able to make his film Feast when he won that show. And so he ended up making Feast 2 and 3, which is, they're more of the same, but they are, that school of just cruelty for cruelty's sake, and horror comedy, graphically gory, very politically incorrect humor. Just if you're 15, or if you just really like seeing really ridiculous horror, you'll definitely enjoy the Feast movies. And Piranha 3 Double D is the same. It brings that exact same type of humor. So yeah, like, did we record Luke talking about the kid's head coming off?
That was one of the things that I screamed, "Oh my God," and then pissed myself laughing.
Yeah. So that's like Gallagher, one of his signature things. And if we go back to Troma, of course, we had the kid's head being crushed in the Toxic Avenger under the teenager's car wheels. So this is sort of he's from that school of horror comedy, and so yes, it's gory. You've got the penis fish, and you've got
fish crawling out of a pussy and biting a guy's dick, and then his
Yeah.
response is to cut his dick off.
Right? You've got
And then
graphic details.
a little bit later, you have the line like, guy's penis
the
off
line
because something
is
came out of my vagina.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
That's a great line.
Yeah,
So,
all of the reasons you're saying, like, your problems with the film, Andrew. I mean, I haven't seen any of the other Piranhas.
Okay.
So anything this retreads, I don't care. Also, because Matt always makes me watch films for this podcast, I love it when a film's really short and slight.
Exactly.
Yeah, short and small is good. Like when I call this a Dark Fate situation, I like that Terminator Dark Fate is not a huge, massive movie because it wouldn't be able to do Terminator 2. And this could have been bigger than Piranha 3D with the proper budget, but it's possible they could have dumped a bunch of money into it and it would have still fallen short. And then you would have just watched a 2-hour movie with a ton of violence that wasn't as good as the last one.
Yeah. So revisiting it, my gripe is not that it's a bad movie. It's just not much of one.
Yeah.
But as far as cheap sequels go, you have a far better rather chance of enjoying this than you would something like Wishmaster 3 or 4 or some of the later Hellraisers or things like that.
Yeah.
The movie is whatever the movie is trying to be, it is doing. And whether or not it's a better Feast sequel than a Piranha sequel, I think could probably be debated, but it's definitely, if people are just what's on the cover is the movie. What you see is definitely what you get.
Yeah.
It's too bad it wasn't more successful. Then the next one would have been in space. It would have had space.
I think the next one would have been on land, probably.
Yeah,
we
literally saw the walking fish at the end.
It would have
go straight to space.
Feast Triple D, starring the lady from Total Recall.
Piranha in the Hood.
Hey, Mark, you got a story for us before we get too deep in? We're already too deep in, but Piranhas.
Trying to jump in with that, and here I jump in. A year has passed since the deadly piranha incident at Lake Victoria, but it turns out that some piranha have survived and are shooting out of cows' asses. Meanwhile, not too far away, a young marine biology student named Maddie, who owns 49% of a water park, disapproves of all the boobies that her stepfather, Chet, who owns 51% of the water park, has added to what will now be known as Big Wet. Meanwhile, some of Maddie's friends start to fall victim to piranha attacks. Ashley and Travis end up killed when their van rolls into the lake, and then a piranha enters Shelby's vagina and then latches onto Josh's penis, which he then cuts off without really thinking things through. We then find out that Maddie's on-again, off-again cop boyfriend, Kyle, has been taking bribes from Chet to cover up the fact that he's been illegally pumping underground water into the water park. Even though Maddie begs Chet not to open Big Wet because piranhas will attack everyone, Chet doesn't believe in piranhas and throws a huge opening with David Hasselhoff as a celebrity lifeguard. Then piranhas do attack. Chet is decapitated while escaping. Kyle is too afraid and useless to save Maddie, but she's saved by her friend Barry, who has always secretly loved her. And David Hasselhoff saves the kid who doesn't know who he is. Meanwhile, a guy named Big Dave blows up the park as revenge for a piranha going up his ass, which kills most of the piranha and causes Barry's trident to randomly impale Kyle and kill him. All is well until everyone realizes that the remaining piranha have started learning to walk, and one kills the kid who David Hasselhoff saved. He doesn't care.
Gotta learn to walk before you can swim.
Wait, that's maybe a minute shorter than the movie itself.
Chet dying by just driving his car across some bunting that decapitates him. That was another great one.
We had instant karma from running over that
oh
kid.
my god, yeah, that also made me laugh. That he just reverses over a child.
One of my favorite things is the fact that Christopher Lloyd was just here to tell us that he basically got ruined because he suggested fish could walk. And I was like, yeah, and then they do. I love that very much. Just when the little breadcrumbs get picked up at the end.
So, since we were bringing up the Hoff, he's very well, he was very in shape, I guess, for a man his age, but I couldn't help but notice he had the bounciest titties in the movie.
Some of Matt's notes were so good. One of them like really nailed it about the two men looking so much alike. You like forget which dude is which. You know, people get mad about all the diversity in casting now, but it's so you can tell white people apart from each other.
Yeah, that was the
yeah,
the guy that gets his dick chopped off, or chops his dick off, and then the quote unquote love interest. I literally didn't work out they were different people till I was like 30 minutes into the film.
I spent most of the film trying to remember who Kyle was. He was Flash Thompson in The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, huh. Yeah, he cuts his dick off, and that's how you can tell him apart, is because he doesn't have a dick anymore.
Also, he's not in the film after that.
So the guy that chopped his dick is not the guy who rescues the girl.
That's Kyle's the other one.
They're two different guys. And then Kyle's the cop.
Guys? Okay.
Yeah,
Josh is
my
one who cut his
problem
dick
here
off
with casting.
See, we're still doing it.
What kind of a love interest would he be if he had no dick? That would be that's like
hey dude, you can do a lot of things.
That's like the Black Widow and the Hawk and Avengers 2.
You could just be like, hey, just kind of ride my elbow.
Hey, baby, ride my elbow.
I feel sorry for your wife if you think you can't be a love interest without a dick.
Where were we? Yes.
Let's have a guy with no dick on the show to talk about it.
I like the human giant sketch where the guy tries to become an internet sensation by chopping his dick off on YouTube, and then someone else does something like really dumb, like they just post photos of cats and they become the much bigger sensation. And they're like on the same talk show, and the guys like, oh yeah, the girls follow me around anywhere. It's like, doesn't matter anymore.
I mean, along those lines, Christopher Lloyd said he had 700 more hits than the Diarrhea Baby.
That's so funny.
He's great. He's in this for like 3 minutes, and he's just man,
amazing. Yeah.
He fever dreams through this movie, because like I said, 45 minutes in, I'm like, didn't I see Christopher Lloyd? So it's just like one day on set, right? One day on set for Gary Busey.
It didn't seem like they even really showed them driving to go talk to Christopher Lloyd. It just felt like they just showed up there, and
you see the car like pull up, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Before that, I was under the impression this was farther away from the original Piranha, because you'd think if it was anywhere near the original Piranha attack, people would be like, there's no way that Chet would be like, yeah, piranhas aren't gonna attack anybody. Like everybody would be traumatized forever, probably. Then again, I mean, I live somewhere where people were just not wearing masks at all for the last 3 years. So
yeah,
jeez. I bet Ving Rhames was on set maybe for like 3 days at least. He was in a little bit more.
I think people. This just goes to show how backwards their thinking is with movies like this, because I don't think that the audience for movies like this, at least speaking for myself, I don't think that we care so much that there are big stars in it. What we would rather see, at least what I would rather see, would be for them to have just paid actors who were willing to get fully naked and do all this stuff, pay them more, and just have them be the main characters. You know what I mean? Because that way would be more consistent. Because what about the one in the bikini that was bouncing around with blood all over it? How do we know she's not a good enough actor to speak lines in Piranha 3 Double D, and you don't have to spend all the money on your Christopher Lloyds or whatever, or
even spend more of the money on like more extravagant deaths and shots and the carnage you came for. I liked Hoff in this film. He made sense because lifeguard and everything.
Right.
Christopher Lloyd could have been played by any cranky old man.
Exactly.
He's not a real.
The Gary Busey scene I forgot all about until you guys started bringing it up.
Right. So
would this movie be better if the scientist was a nude woman and also Gary Busey was a nude woman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Exactly. No, because it's kind of, for 3 Double D, really all the nudity is from stock footage, from stuff that could be taken from any film.
Yeah, I was going to call it the Girls Gone Wild School of Film Production.
Yeah, and they really were going for like MTV Spring Break, Girls Gone Wild, but that was really like they had a character. Jerry O'Connell played basically a version of the Girls Gone Wild guy that was so close to the real guy in that first Piranha, at least the remake, that the Girls Gone Wild guy actually like tried to like sue them.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
You remember that?
Wasn't that and his character got his dick bitten off and spit at you in 3D?
Yes, it was wonderful. And so I just think, if you have less money, do it how real B movies do it, and just make it with more nudity and more gore. And who cares who the leads are? I wouldn't have cared.
I don't think I really cared about anybody, and I mean that you could. I feel like this maybe what you're talking about, Andrew, kind of bled through to Scream at this point, because there's a weird thing where like actors are getting fired from Scream for saying that maybe Palestinian children shouldn't be killed, and
I remember that.
And well, the thing is, like, I'm totally against them being fired, but I think it's kind of dumb for a slasher sequel for people to be like, that series is over because the celebrities aren't coming back.
No.
I'm kind of like, how the hell did? And apparently, Neve Campbell's character is still alive after 7 Scream movies. Like, what?
Good for her.
I have the new Scream movies are the best ones because they don't sit there and retread all those old characters. They just they're just good movies, you know?
Okay. I just didn't really care for the first 2, so I just stopped watching because I felt like they were. I don't really want to watch a movie about someone who is into movies. That's just me, but I'd rather see. I want to see people who are discovering the world of horror movies for the first time by being killed. I don't want to see them
Well, think about Talk to Me. That's one of the year's like best horror movies. Name me anybody famous that you know that was in Talk to Me.
I haven't seen it yet.
Australian movie. Well,
but I want to, but I haven't seen it yet. But
yeah, well,
you know, that's like how they did Star Wars. It's like they just pulled a bunch of mostly unknown people.
Yeah.
And
so anyway,
it worked out pretty well.
Boobs and blood, or do you want movie stars? Like that's your trade-off.
I mean, I think just get hungry people who are,
It sounds like sounds like an underworld scam there.
But that said, it's like
I was at the top of the Japanese crime blotter, by the way, when I was going through that. That's why I didn't read it.
But to be fair, I was totally amused by the Ving Rhames, Paul Shear stuff, all of it, where he's like, get my whatever, don't let me get my bitch ass out of the water. What was happening with that?
But if you had a legless cop,
don't listen to my pussy ass mouth. He kept saying, that could have been anybody, sure, but that was very funny to me. We kept saying, don't listen to my pussy ass mouth.
Yeah.
and then the lady says, don't dump that poor legless stump in the pool.
Then he has titanium shotgun legs and he kills a bunch of piranhas.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure in that scene he shot a couple people by accident. Because there were some reaction shots of people going like, oh.
Yeah, so I don't know how much they really paid those three famous people, but they weren't. I hope they didn't get paid a ton to be in there a little bit, but
I hope they didn't get paid a ton to be in there a little bit. That makes sense, but
they weren't. They were funny.
So the impression I got was that Ving Rhames was in the previous film. Is that correct, Andrew? Okay.
Yes.
He loses his legs.
Several of the characters, the actors that made up cameo appearances in this were from the previous.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
World building for a cinematic universe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Gallagher, I don't think directed another movie for a few years, and then I don't think he's directed anything for a long time.
Nobody directs movies anymore. It's so hard to get them through the pipe now. I mean, as far as like actual wide releases. I think
a lot of people. Well, you go to Netflix.
True. Yeah, I'm just saying there's I mean, it's we're running out of auteurs these days.
Fucking Scorsese made a movie for Apple Plus, and it was one of the best movies I've ever seen. He's directed it.
Or what year was Piranha 3 Double D? What year is this?
I had it open just now and I closed it. Oh, there you go.
2 years after
2011, November 23rd, 2011.
Sorry, 2011. I don't know why I said 2012.
So not long after that, Piranha 3D. If Gallagher was going to have go on to bigger and better things, he had a decade.
The thing is, though, is that the next eco horror movie I saw that Alexandra Aja made was Crawl in 2019, which I didn't care for.
Oh, dude, I loved it.
It was a lot of people. It was a lot of people yelling at each other.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
but they didn't have beards like Rob Zombie.
Yeah, I didn't like. It was one of those. I didn't like the people in the movie, but I think that's sometimes a problem with French directors is that they translate how French people talk to each other to Americans or English speaking people, and it doesn't translate. That's why I think the problem with Valerian is everybody's like, those people have no chemistry, but I'm like, no, they had chemistry. They were just yelling at each other the entire movie, but they clearly liked each other.
I don't think Odd Josh should be making. I don't think he's going to be making movies much anymore either. He Incident in a Ghostland. He put real glass and made an actress smash through it, and she ended up getting really bad scars on her face.
Oh damn!
Yeah, so I don't know.
That's fucked up.
I don't know how well he survived that whole incident.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because Paul W.S. Anderson made a stunt woman lose her arm, and he's still making movies.
That's true. Oh god, that was awful.
Yeah, remember the Back to the Future 2 lady who almost died and she's in the movie, the stunt woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they left that in there.
Yeah,
they let Landis make movies for years.
Yeah, yeah, they let him make a son.
Oops.
Anyway, but yeah, it's we'll be talking about a French movie pretty soon on this podcast.
Is that just like a prediction, or is it? Like
no, I know we will.
Okay,
a French director's movie who I had an issue with the chemistry of the couple in the movie. Stay tuned.
Okay. Oh, I worked out American movie though. Yes. Okay. I thought we were watching some French New Wave.
I mean, I think Crawl is technically an American movie too.
It's called French New Wave.
French director. It's new French new wave.
Yeah.
There's a wave in it.
The new wave.
New wave.
Other big hot takes on this movie. Like I said, I by 70 minutes, and I should count the credits. I thought I was fully desensitized to blood, titties, and fish scales. There was a point where I just couldn't register anymore if I was watching naked women or swimsuit women. I couldn't work it out anymore.
That happened to me too. In that note, yeah, that happened to me too.
I think the internet's just desensitized me completely, and I just didn't really think about the naked women at all. I think I'm just ruined.
It was because the breasts didn't move when they were in a bikini, but they also didn't move when the bikini was off. So I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, I did not pay that much attention at all. I thought it was absolutely hilarious when the girl had the piranha in her vagina threw up, and then that one guy just walks up and says, "Look who has morning sickness," and then he just jumps on the puke and stomps it.
Okay, those were John Gallagher's feet. That was part of the trip.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like the puke shot. I don't like seeing puke on the ground because you see it a lot in Japan from the after the parties.
I like to try to figure out what the person ate based on how the vomit looks.
Apples?
But she ate piranha.
Yeah, that's right.
That would be the best.
I think I saw some apple in there.
See, I was thinking like wild rice, or perhaps a burrito.
Yeah, I should have paused it and studied it more, but like I said, I actually just went straight to the movie with no pauses. I didn't do Mark's note pause. I just kept on typing like a fiend.
I paused a lot because I just was doing bad with time management. But I did watch it. I watched it within 24 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, you got that going for you.
I absolutely loved the thing where Kyle shows back up at the end and is trying to be a hero, and he's screaming being a hero, and he's like carrying a skeleton out of the pool.
Yeah.
Or out of the lake or whatever.
Well, I guess we'll put on this one how filmy or filthy it is.
Oh, it's filth, but I really enjoyed that it just reveled in being filth.
Yeah, it's cool filth because it's not made that well, maybe. I mean,
yeah, but it's just like
but...
it's like, look, you're here for blood and titties. Here's blood and titties, and
it's sleazy as fuck. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
But it leans into it so hard, you can't be mad at it.
That's how I feel about it.
I find this less sleazy than when more like a Marvel movie making Scarlett Johansson show her ass on the poster, right? Where it's trying to pretend it's not sleazy, but then it is.
And then they
here
don't
it's
make
just
the
like,
toy.
no.
I could see that.
Can you get
I
a
thought you
Black
were going
Widow
to say
toy
the
yet?
thing.
I mean, I'm not saying that in a nasty way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because you couldn't all the way up through like 2016.
I thought you were going to
Gamora
say
with the Guardians.
It's not as sleazy as Marvel making kids want to join the military.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Also, like sleazy in terms of seeing some boobs. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Joining the military,
it feels,
think you're going to be Spider-Man. Maybe that's worse.
This feels like it's way less like misogynistic than Stan Helsing, or what was the other shit one, Hungover Games.
Oh yeah.
Was there another one of those that was just
like Once Upon a Time in America?
Yeah.
I guess I got a little skewed too, because when watching the Weinstein name flash on the credits, just kind of like in 2023, it kind of predisposes you how you're going to start viewing the film you're watching.
I didn't pay that close enough attention.
I didn't either, to be honest. I had to look up the trivia.
Oh no! I saw that flash in the credits. I was like, oh, I mean, whatever. That's like there's like 3,000 films, many of which are very good that have that credit.
It's credits on most of the Pokemon animes because they handle the English dubs. So,
just when you know you're getting to a sleazy movie, and then you do know that it's going to stick in your back of your mind a little bit,
Man, I hate to say it, but I think probably a lot of producers are the fucking worst people that ever walked the face of the fucking planet.
I mean, Ed Wood was writing on the casting couch.
They have money and they make people dance for their money. So,
yeah.
I mean, go watch Babylon, right?
I love Babylon.
I have not watched it yet, but it sounds like I would like it.
It's the closest thing anyone's made to Showgirls in America in a very long time.
I haven't seen Babylon or the first 3 sequels, but I really like Babylon 5.
I haven't seen that, though.
I just came across a 1-star review, and I feel compelled to read it right now.
Sure, do it.
Okay, title is Can See Big Tit and No Piranha. Here's the text. Can see big tit and no piranha, by the way. You can see its poster for Mo details. 0 out of 2 found this helpful. Andrew, they referenced the poster.
All right.
Yeah, they owe me a little bit.
I have a guy on a podcast I listen to who he's been on mine a couple of times. He because Capcom always does competitions to like design weapons for Monster Hunter. And then Pokemon often does like art competitions for Pokemon cards and stuff. And he's really, really against them, just as a practice.
Yeah.
It's just a way to get a load of people to do free labor, and then you only pay the one you end up using.
Yeah, I think Mega Man used to do that, and
yeah.
Which I think that may have resulted in some weird villains in that, but
yeah, some robot masters.
It's kind of fucked up.
It's extremely fucked up.
Think about it.
There's versions that work and there's versions that don't. Because with Monster Hunter, it's like very professional artists creating like full design documents. It is kind of like just pay people to do speculative art for you. But like with the old Mega Man competitions, it was more like kids coming up with a fun baddie, right?
Yeah, and I think they would always just draw a pencil or be a bit. Yeah, it's also. If I had won that as a kid, I would still be bragging about it. So I can't be too mad about it. But
yeah, I think it's different, a little bit different these days because it is the people entering are like artists. Yeah, should be getting paid for their work. Yeah, but then maybe they would turn around and tell you that actually just taking part in these competitions is really good for like spreading their stuff. Who knows?
I mean, I can definitely tell you as somebody who's written music for a long time. People, I mean, just film work in general, people want you to do free stuff constantly and
get paid in exposure.
Yeah, well, but in a lot of cases specifically with independent film stuff is you do your friends a favor working on their thing for free, and then they'll do you a favor by working on your thing for free. And hopefully that ends
nobody
up
gets any money.
off balance. Bill,
yeah, but that's different from like a big corporation, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I know we're calling this film low budget, but it's not like low budget, right?
No.
Yeah, this is.
They probably got
don't know what
at
the
least
budget
scale, whatever that is for.
My poster was better.
Piranha scales. Sorry.
I didn't find a better review than the one I already read. I could read like one that's well written, or we could just leave it with that weird one.
This
was $24 million was the budget for this. That is. I mean, that's
Wikipedia listed as 7.5. So where are you getting that?
That might be what it made.
Google.
No, it said,
I don't know.
Wikipedia says budget 7.5 million, box office 8.5 million.
I'm looking at Wikipedia. Right? Oh no, fuck! I'm sorry. It sent me to Piranha 3 1D.
Okay, yeah.
My bad.
Wow,
just for reference,
the budget.
10 years later, Godzilla -1 was made for less than 15 million.
Everyone's thinking about that.
Mic drop.
Well,
yeah. I mean, what can you say to that?
It's I think Annihilation was what, like around that budget, and that was sort of like the highest budget Alex Garland movie, and he's made a lot of fucking amazing movies that I love. I mean, I think Dread's budget was like 7 million or something like that.
That's an amazing movie too.
But
it's an amazing movie, great 3D.
When you see these movie budgets that are like 150 million, so much of that money's just going down the fucking toilet.
Well, you pay your actor $20 million.
Well,
sorry, Annihilation's 40 million. I was off, but this other stuff was cheaper. I know.
Yeah, but Annihilation, like most of that was on the screen.
It's worth it, yeah. To me, I don't know.
No, I know with Disney the past year, or 2023. It's like, oh, all our movies flopped. Yeah, and they all cost $300 million to make. What did you expect?
Yeah, what was that? Indiana Jones 5 cost over $300 million, I think.
And they're like, oh, it flopped. Oh, it made money. It just it did make money. People bought tickets to see that movie somewhat, at least.
I'm not like a huge Indiana Jones person. So, maybe this doesn't mean anything, but I'm like, I can't imagine a $300 million Indiana Jones movie where I'm like, this was worth $300 million. Like, what the hell are you? If it's like a Nazis all turn into robots and form a big giant Hitler robot that he fights at the end, and he's like flying through space, sure, that's not gonna happen.
I do like indie movies, but they don't need that kind of money. I just want to see him punch a Nazi.
Yeah, I watched the movie, I liked it, and then I saw that was a budget. I'm like, I like that movie. It's not like I saw Coroner's Cup. I'm like, no, no. How did they pay Harrison Ford 150 of that? Maybe.
I mean, probably.
Second correct. The new correction, Dread was also 30 million. I'm just saying wrong numbers all over the place today, and I just
Mark's just pulling numbers out of his ass today.
Like piranhas, yeah.
I also like when the piranhas came out of the faucet into the bath, but then she woke up and it revealed it was a dream. So how in her dream was she dreaming things that we could see, but she couldn't?
I don't know.
You have weird perspectives when you dream. Sometimes you're watching yourself, or you're that I can go for that. Yeah. I'm glad it was a dream, because I was like, oh, come on, it should at least be coming out of the cut in her leg, not the faucet. That didn't make any sense. Wait, mine makes less sense now that you think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
I expected the piranhas were going to swim out of the cut in her leg, which that would have been cool. That would have cost more money though, which maybe is why it's much cheaper just to push dried fish through a faucet.
I think it was just CGI. I don't think
probably CGI.
Yeah, it's cheaper to animate drops that look like fish.
I just like to think someone was back behind the faucet pushing fish through it. That's all.
I mean, somewhere
what's his name from New Zealand from the Muppets? He was back there doing
it. Yeah, of course.
That's what I want in my world. Yeah.
Oh man, imagine Muppets Piranha.
That'd be great.
I mean, Muppets anything's better, I think.
Absolutely.
I don't think they're ever gonna make a movie where Muppets get all torn up by monsters or anything.
Serbian Muppet film.
Is that what the Happy Land Murders do?
Kind of. That was. Okay.
I want to see a film where the Muppets turn on mankind, and it's just like this movie, but instead of piranhas, it's Muppets.
Kingdom
Planet of the Muppets.
Yeah.
Be great. Be into it. Like, how about Muppets and Pokemon? Muppets and Pokemon team up to take man out.
The original head writer of the anime wanted to do a movie that was a conclusion to Pokemon, where the Pokemon rose up against humans, and it ended with Pikachu and Ash in combat.
Someone say the Muppets take mankind.
Nice.
Hell yeah!
I thought Matt might have said that.
That would be. Imagine if when they rebooted, I guess they reboot Pokemon once in a while, right? Like his at least the games. Imagine
the
if
games are still all in one continuity.
Okay, well, it's like, imagine if they did that and just had the Pokemon rise up against humanity, and then you just fast forward 3 million years and new humans show up, and then deal with it that like Pokemon are millions of years old,
and the Pokemon train the humans to fight each other.
Oh my god! I think we might have already come up with this in another episode, but still, I'm into it.
Never quash a good idea. Yeah.
It's just like they keep them in like big. They keep them in square balls instead of round ones.
Right. So yeah, I fully
cubicles. Am I right?
Yeah.
I fully put down my iPod and closed it now. So I guess that short review was the right review. Unless Mark, you're the guy that also looks at this one. I mean, if you didn't, that's fine. I just checking in.
Well, the format for the podcast is that a film on this list should have a 10-star review.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's.
I just got blinded.
I thought you did that on purpose.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was such a great review. It just caught my eye, and I couldn't.
1-star reviews usually are better. I don't know.
Maybe that's how I went. Okay,
give me
Mark,
a
you got a 10 for us.
I'm also looking back.
Okay.
I'm not as familiar with doing this as you guys.
No, I almost.
Because I hate public user reviews.
Yeah.
No, if we dug for it, we could probably find my original review for this. On my blog.
Okay, I think I got a candidate here. Okay.
Let's go.
Easily 10 stars worth of laughs. Damn it. No. Okay. Sorry, my browser is being weird. I read a 1-star review that said this movie never takes itself seriously and has a solid cast. Therein lies the disconnect between all the 1 to 2-star reviews and others, like my wife and I, find the film hysterically funny because it never takes itself seriously. We totally agree with a 1-star person who notes the solid cast. I mean, David Hasselhoff is off the charts hilarious. Then there is good old Christopher Lloyd adding his usual charm. The piranhas themselves are grotesque.
Sorry, Mark, let me stop you. The piranhas.
Piranhas, you're right.
Piranhas.
My bad. The piranhas themselves are grotesquely horrific and a hoot to watch on the screen. One-legged deputy played by Ving Rhames, not accurate, added another most weird, funny scenes ever as he battles piranhas trying to eat his steel leg. Their blood and gore galore, again, not taking any of this seriously. I mean, a hilarious decapitation scene. 1 out of 2 found this helpful. Also, well, this is from 2020.
That's a 50% hit rate.
Wow.
As ever, we have to ask the question, like, how did this film end up on this list? Because it's
I'm confused.
I think it's like the film wants to be on this list almost.
Oh, absolutely.
It's playing up being like a cheesy B movie. And like you said, Andrew, you met the director and he's like, you hated it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people who are giving this film 1 and 2-star reviews are in on the joke. Like, you're not meant to give this film a 10-star review. It doesn't want it.
No,
that's possible. And also the Piranha 3D is at a 5.5. And you've heard me and Andrew gush about that movie. So it's almost like if that's at a 5.5, then Piranha 3 Double D has to be lower. So it just is low enough that it's, I mean, I think 5.5 for that is absurd, but I guess maybe that's the same thing where people are just like, yeah, this is awesome, 1 star, awesome trash.
Yeah, and back then the Weinsteins were notorious for chopping up the movies, and just they really were the ones that made them. I mean, think about Del Toro's experience making Mimic,
Mm-hmm.
And that's just
also
many stories.
Piranha like 2 back in the day was like treated as like a worst film of all time, Planet from Outer Space type picture. So maybe there's just a bit of the Piranha series just has that DNA of people want to give it bad reviews.
D more now that Luke's saying it. I do like 3 Double D more than Piranha 2. Piranha 2 is kind of boring.
Piranha 2 is like they fly now. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's called the spawning. They have wings.
So yeah, that's fun. But yeah, who knows if it's good or not?
It's a slog to watch.
Who knew feet would work better than wings? Yeah.
I think Cameron doesn't like it himself. So
he took a long time to start letting people call it his first film, and then he sort of eased up on it.
Well,
I'd like to hear James Cameron's statement that he's going to be making Piranhas 3, 4, and 5 over the next 10 years.
Great.
Well, apparently he just did a bunch of 4K upscaling for some of his most beloved films and like messed them up by using AI to remove film grain. I haven't seen any of these, but I have mixed feelings about that guy right now because it sounds like he's doing a special edition bullshit, but
yeah, because nobody liked those. When I think with Dawn of the Dead, does anyone remember the version that was had DNR, digital noise reduction on Blu-rays? Like one of the first Dawn of the Dead Blu-rays that was out, they used digital noise reduction, and everybody was like, "What is this?" You know?
I've definitely heard of that. I think the worst Blu-ray I got was the first RoboCop one, but it was just a bad transfer. It wasn't like weirdly noise reduced or anything. But
yeah, no, they used some kind of process to. It just doesn't. It has no texture.
It's bad.
Yeah,
I've seen AI upscaling. It is not suitable for film because film is right. I mean, I don't know. It's not good enough.
AI anything is not suitable for artistic endeavors.
Yeah, basically, because it's not actually AI, because it's not smart. It's just you're just using a bunch of different information and aggregating it to.
Yeah, well, like I'm 100% behind whichever Wachowski sister it was who just said like we shouldn't call it AI art, we should call it plagiarism software.
Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, hopefully there will be a non-plagiarism machine version of those movies. I would love to see The Abyss in 4K, but not if it looks like shit. So
maybe it just takes everyone's top off.
Sure.
I see that's the correct use of AI, is to do dumb little things for a laugh.
Is to deepfake people.
I mean, if AI ever becomes
there's some
good,
like consent shit there. I take that back.
Yeah, that is I had all these thoughts about like if AI actually became good enough to really change things, to just make dumb alterations in films, like what if Neo took the red pill in the Matrix, but then but the movie's the same, but everyone's just a dick to him instead of changing anything.
Where everyone's red now. He takes the red pill. He takes the red pill, and everyone in the movie from then on out is red.
Yeah, the movie just turns red. I mean, I could do that myself.
No, just the people turn red, not the whole movie.
Okay.
Instead of Gone with the Wind, it'll be Gone with the Tops.
Sure. Yeah, after everyone's dead in a movie, do we need consent from them just to show their boobs?
You don't need consent from dead people.
Horrible. I guarantee you someone's already had this conversation. That's the fucked up thing about it. It's like they're gonna do CGI Gone with the Wind too.
Oh, it'll happen.
They're gonna bring Grand Moff Tarkin back in the next Star Wars movie, but he's gonna be shagging constantly.
he has no pants.
Yeah, that looked terrible. Even without him shagging someone.
Oh, you mean the Rogue One scene?
the Rogue One scene, yeah.
I forgot what that looked like. I remember
the eyes. They can't get the eyes right. Yeah, the eyes are just wrong.
I like to think
they can't do posture right. Like it sort of doesn't look like a standing person. It's sort of like kind of floating.
What's weird is you had an actor standing there. How did they mess it up when there was an actor standing there?
I don't know. I mean, and it could be a lot closer than I'm actually remembering it being, but I remember it being just not looking good, and I'm sure that that will not age well. Comparing it to video games, like video games are not. In order for video games to get like human motion correct, they have to make a physics engine that is very detailed and have all the limbs move individually. And most video games don't bother with that. Like if you play something like a Bethesda game, I'm sure Starfield is like that. You basically are a disembodied head flying around with a fake body attached to you with an arm that is a repeating weapon. It's like it's not
good. I mean, I saw an Indonesian horror movie that was like that.
I heard that in The Irishman, a movie that I have not seen, that they actually hired someone on set to tell the old men to stand up straight. So because the de-aging software was good enough, and they were using it in half the movie. But if they moved like old men, it kind of ruins the effect. So
I've heard they still kind of do move like old men for most of the film.
They do. So they absolutely do, and that
guy didn't help
me.
I certainly thought that Tron Legacy, like Jeff Bridges' voice was all wrong in that. He sounded like this. He didn't.
Yeah, but he's in a weird computer world, so it's kind of okay.
I mean, I hope that he just got paid to do the minimal effort, but he might. They could have just tried to remove a little of the gravel, because
big stars should get paid for minimal effort.
Yeah, man. I mean, I wish I hadn't seen it, but I also wish that he got paid for not doing anything.
Did you want to?
That's the way Indiana Jones was. This new one, he was the de-aging stuff was great, but then they stuck his face onto like the stunt people and all this other, and they made a big point of showing his face all the time. You're like, enough.
Enough. You can shoot kind of how back. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like I kind of felt like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon felt like it was making a huge point of people are like fighting and you see their face the whole time. And it was kind of like, man, I prefer the quick cuts when they would hide people, because it felt a lot more exciting when they would do that.
Just be normal. Just do normal stunts.
Just do normal stuff.
Oh my god. What we're talking about stunts. Do you know what I recently found out about last night? Have you seen the alternative ending scene from Love Actually?
No.
Never seen any of it.
At the end, the kid runs into the airport to confess to the girl.
Yes.
The original version, he's doing all kinds of gymnastics ninja flips to get away from the police.
What?
There's no way. Where is this?
I retweeted it on Twitter. Basically, apparently, originally the kid was going to be a gymnast, and like at the end, he used his gymnastics skills to get to her. Okay. But then, like, it just looked so insane they had to cut the plot line out because it was too distracting. And he's literally, he'll do a backflip and it's just a full-grown adult. And then it cuts back to the kid when he laughs. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god, I'm watching it. Oh my god.
Like a Rudy Ray Moore movie.
I've never seen Love Actually at all, but this is still funny even to me.
I love that movie. No, that's one I watch it every year.
Actually.
I haven't, it's not like I've gone out of my way to avoid it. It just hasn't really come up.
I've seen it, but I've forgotten it for the most part. Yeah, I don't remember it anymore. I saw it 20 years ago. That's my Love Actually review.
Okay. Well, it's on the good list.
Is it?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna start joking like that every time any movie comes up.
I guess we're winding down on this one. Andrew, it's January something, believe it or not. Did your book come out?
Yeah, my book, Everybodies, Everybodies, should be available now on Amazon to purchase on paperback or hardback. No e-edition, folks.
Hell yeah.
Got to get the papes.
Yeah.
You're doing an Athens release party? You doing an Atlanta release party?
That'll be up to Metropolitan Studios if they want. They're kind of like my Atlanta venue. They're in East Atlanta, and so if that happens, obviously that will be a big deal. They showed Jigsaw last year, and that was well attended. And so
I was there.
Yeah, that's right. You were, Mark. That's right. That's the last time I saw you, probably.
I'm afraid to drive to Athens because my car is always bad.
Don't do it. Let us come to you. I love Metropolitan Studios, and so
nice.
there'll be one at Cine on January the 7th, and then just TBA for Metropolitan.
Cool.
As for us for Films and Filth, we might be on some socials if you felt like looking or not. On Patreon, do look there. Podcastius, support this. Support Time Enough Podcast doing the Twilight Zone. Podcast 1999 doing Space 1999. Luke loving Pokemon. Hyrule Fuel Report. Loving Zelda. Game Show. Loving screaming at each other. or talking in raised voices to each other. I guess you guys don't have that much screaming. Occasionally.
I love that's become the narrative. Expect to turn it on. They're just like, whoa, name of Pokemon.
Fuck you.
Andrew made an excellently high pitched noise on the Game of the Year show, which I isolated out and put at the end again.
Oh man,
like that was it like mini me.
I don't. I always forget to listen till the end, but I did want to say, Luke, that you shouldn't feel bad about not knowing Advance Wars came out, because I keep forgetting that it came out, and I bought it. It came out 2 weeks
said
before.
Advance Wars.
Advance Wars.
Advance
I mean,
Wars.
it could be Advance Wars if you use AI to make them all nude, but
I played the ones on the DS.
Well, it's a
it's a remake of the first two Game Boy ones, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And there was
pretty
one
good.
There was the gritty reboot version. I played
yeah,
that.
Days of Ruin. I have a sealed copy of that.
Still in the box.
I love that the whole idea of that game was like, hey, it's war, let's all hang out, we're children and we're having fun, and then it's just like the future is all
the future sucks.
Yeah.
I did prefer the first one's vibe.
Andrew, I searched Everybodies Andrew Shearer on Amazon.co.jp. I'm just getting underwear.
It's not there anymore. It's not there.
Oh, that's because it's Japan.
I'm supposed to be writing the book right now, and yet I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because January is when we're talking about the future.
Exactly, the future, where we'll spend the rest of our lives.
Okay, well, go write your damn book.
I'm not going to, just because you said. I was trying to find a picture of my kid doing karaoke last night. She ripped the mic. It was so awesome. I mean,
what'd she do?
She did Mad Hatter by Melanie Martinez.
All right.
And she was killing it. Oh, I was so proud.
I'm trying to learn the Take Control song from the game Control to do it karaoke, because the karaoke place in Atlanta now has a YouTube button. So now it's just all bets are off. I can do whatever I want.
Oh my God, that's great. I'm waiting for them to do that. There's one up here that does the YouTube, but the one I go to regularly uses Carafun, which is just an app.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff is still Heel Sonic, Carafun are still pretty good, but like the YouTube button is like, holy shit, there Come to Daddy by Aphex Twin is on there. Like, this is fucking insane shit.
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna bother so many people with that.